Casey Scott asked me, what's the concern level? I'm going to take a bunch of burning, insightful questions from you, the Michigan football audience, on today's show. On Monday, I said, all you got to do, use hashtag Michigan in the comments. And we got a couple dozen of them or so, and I'm going to answer 6 8 of them on today's show, and then we're going to save a few more for more shows later on this week. So thanks to everyone like Kaysen who participated in this Michigan football burning questions mailbag. One more time to give you guys this opportunity. We did it on yesterday's show, so if you missed it, if you didn't watch the entire video, we're going to make the opportunity today. So I'm going to pin this question right below the video. It's going to be the top comment in the comment section. Go down and predict the score. Michigan, Arkansas State. Yeah, got to tell me who the winner is. It's got to be in by kickoff noon on Saturday. And, of course, no editing your comment. If for some reason you need to edit your comment, just delete it and re-add it. Because if you edit it, we just think you're trying to pull a fast one and put in the score in after the game is over. Reply to the comment below the video with your Michigan Fresno State score predictions. First one to do so, I'll Venmo you $25. Go back to Kaysen's questions. What is the concern level? Now, I finally mustered up the strength late last night with a nice cup of scotch and drinking my sorrows away to watch the Big Ten in 60 and take a deeper look at what this team did against Texas. It's always kind of tough to see everything when you're in the actual stadium. And the thing I'm most concerned about is this guy right here, redshirt freshman Evan Link. All right, gave up 10 quarterback hurries. Right, Michigan gave up 14, which is a huge number. 14 to Texas on Saturday. 10 were from their right tackle Evan Link. Now, in 2 games so far this year, you see a 27.2 Pro Football Focus grade. Now, I'm not sure if Pro Football Focus knows everything, but these grades are something, right? Somebody's watching this film that's got some experience, right? 10 quarterback pressures allowed. And it wasn't just that. He allowed the most quarterback pressures against Fresno State, too, right? Only 3. Next guy, I think, was a bunch of guys with 1 and maybe one other player with 2. 64.9. So worst grade by far against Texas, and the second worst overall on the offensive line in the game against Fresno State in the first week. But how about this one, right? 2 games so far this year. 2 games. His grade is a 0.0. I mean, he shouldn't even exist. It's almost like Jack, they line up 4 offensive linemen. That would be the same exact thing for Michigan. A 0.0 blocking grade for Michigan in his first 2 games, the redshirt freshman starting as Michigan's right tackle, right? So he's having a brutal season. He beat out a handful of other players, right? He's the kind of guy who came out of nowhere. But what are we looking for at here? We're trying to do continuity. I don't know how long you can let this last if he continues to grade out. Now, if he is the worst graded offensive lineman or has a pass protection rating and pass blocking rating of 0.0, anything below like 50, I mean, this is crazy. After this next game against Arkansas State, you've seriously got to consider getting him out of the lineup. And I don't think there's anybody on Michigan's entire offense. And a single player, maybe outside of Colson Loveland, but he's had a couple drops. He's had a fumble that was just absolutely mind-boggling against Texas. There shouldn't be anybody whose job is 100% secure. Evan Link, by far, the guy I think is the most concerned person. So I've got a lot of concern for this team, most notably Evan Link. Aaron Polite says, appreciate what you do, James. Is Sherrone Moore on the hot seat this season for hashtag Michigan, given everything, including likely a poor season? What's the everything, right? The everything, of course, is he was suspended for a game last year, already under the NCAA microscope, and now he is the target as a repeat offender under the notice of allegations that Michigan received in relation to the Connor Stallion saga from 2023. We'll keep it rolling on that, but I did want to ask you guys this question. Honest answers here, right? If he loses 5 games this year, 5 or more games this year, Sherrone Moore, his first year with a national championship pedigree and a bunch of guys' experience and 4 potential first-round draft picks, if they go 7-5, if they go 6-6, I just say, it would kill me. It would kill me. Would he be on the hot seat? Let me know your thoughts. Now, I'm not talking about end of the season. I'm talking about going into next season. Let me know down in the comments. Now, we really got to think about this, because if this is a bad year, folks, next year is going to be a disaster, right? 2025, woo, right? Because you're going to lose most likely Kenneth Grant. You're going to almost certainly lose Mason Graham, Will Johnson, almost certainly Colson Loveland. Donovan Edwards is going to be gone. I believe Khalil Mulligan's has 1 more year, but I haven't really got any clarity on that one way or the other. And Michigan's going to have an inexperienced offensive line coming back again, right? Not guys that didn't really perform that well this year. Who's the quarterback next year? All right, is it going to be Davis Warren again? Is it coming off a 6-6 season, 7-5 season? Would it be Alex Orji? Would Jaden Davis be ready to go? Would one of the true freshmen, was it Brady Hart? I don't know. Like, It's just tough to comprehend what this team would look like next year and the lack of momentum that this program would have coming off a 7-5 or a 6-6 season or something like that. Michigan has got to change their approach to the transfer portal, and I'm talking about ASAP. Right? It opens up here in about 3 months. They have got – I've read some things about Texas and what they did this offseason. Right? They identified the positions they needed to compete for a national championship this year, right? Defensive line, secondary, wide receiver, lost their top 5 pass catchers, but it certainly didn't look like it. Got a 5-star to come in recruiting, and got 2 high-level receivers to come in from other schools, one from Texas, one from Alabama, paid the money that they needed to get the players. That is the reality of today's college football, right? And if Michigan is not going to play it going forward, right, they had great success the first 3 years of NIL and transfer portal, but most of that was built on guys who were already on campus before those rules were into place. They held on to them. If it doesn't change going forward, I think 2025 could be a real down year for Michigan if this year is not as good as expected and Michigan goes into the offseason with near no momentum. Minivan Dad coming in with the question. And he says, hey, James, I saw you on BuckeyeScoop. I was there, 2 Mondays ago, and you had mentioned that you thought this team, or maybe it was 2 Tuesdays ago, was championship caliber. I wonder why, if you could go into depth on why you felt that way. So many question marks in the coaching staff replacing so much production on offense. Now, I touched on this a little bit yesterday, right? I touched on this a little bit yesterday in the video talking about why, kind of the same question. Why? What didn't I see? What was going on with this team in the offseason that we couldn't project to this year? Why were we so high? We're going to talk about that. I've got a lot to say on this topic. But next up, is Michigan a very average team, or is it that Texas is just so damn good? When Jim Harbaugh took the job in January with the L.A. Chargers, Sherrone Moore could have cast a wide net, got a bunch of candidates, but he didn't. He just went and hired Sherrone Moore, the offensive coordinator, after a few days. But if he did, I bet he would have done something like Chat Sports does, and that is use today's sponsor, LinkedIn Jobs, to find great jobs candidates. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/CFchat. That's linkedin.com/CFchat to post your job for free. Link is down in the comments and the description of today's Michigan Football Report. Terms and conditions apply. Find great candidates like we do here at Chat Sports. Use LinkedIn Jobs, linkedin.com/CFchat. My DNA has been changed, right? I just don't think Michigan can lose games, but after being in the stadium and seeing what Texas did to this Michigan team, maybe my optimism has gone down a little bit. Maybe I'll start being a little more realist. I don't want to go back to 2019, 2020, 2018 Yoder, which was hater Yoder, but I will if I have to. But the reason optimism is because I thought this was going to be one of the best defenses in all of college football. I don't know if that is the case anymore. I thought that the offense with the same brain trust of Sherrone Moore, of Kirk Campbell, of what's the guy's name? The offensive line coach. I've got it right here. The former Michigan player, Grant Newsome. I thought that he would be. This would be a team that would get it together, and maybe they lose this game to Texas, but they go into the Oregon game, right, like 6-7-1, whatever it was, and have a chance to go into Columbus and win that game, make the college football playoff. But we got to see a lot of things change if that's going to happen. Donovan Edwards hasn't turned out to what I thought it was. The offensive line is a disaster, right? So there's a lot of things that we thought were going to be true that haven't come to fruition, that are nowhere near true. But I want to throw this one out there, right? Imagine if Michigan had played Georgia in 2021, not the last game of the season, the college football semifinal. What if they had played Georgia in the second week of the season, right? What would that game have looked like, and what would we have thought about that Michigan team, right? It's just something to ponder, to try and keep our hopes up. What if Georgia had come into the Big House, the team that, it was just like this game, right? The final score was, I think, 34-11. This one was 31-12. It was the same as that game, right? It was a 4-score game at halftime, basically, and Georgia could have put their number on the point. It could have been 56-3. It could have been whatever they wanted, just like Texas could have scored 50 and Michigan could have held Michigan to 6 or 9 points, whatever it was, if they wanted to, if they kept the pedal to the metal and had, thought that they had to score to impress somebody. But that wasn't the case. But what if that game happened second week of the year? What would we have thought about that 2021 team for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks down the line? It's just something to ponder. I don't think we know the answer to. So I do think Texas is good. They have reloaded. That offensive line is just terrific. It's one of the best I've seen in college football in a while. Certainly better than any of the Michigan offensive lines, I think, over the last couple of years. And their defensive secondary, right? They didn't let Michigan's average wide receivers get really any separation at all. The coaching staff seems to know what they were doing. They came in with a game plan. So if this Texas team goes on to the national championship game or win the national title, and let's say Michigan has a 10-2 or 9-3 season, but still makes the playoff and loses in the first round, the way we point back to this is like, hey, it wasn't that Michigan was that bad. It was that you were just going up against a juggernaut, and this game would have happened like that no matter if it was week 2, week 12, college football playoff, and that is what it is. But good thing they've got USC coming up in about, 9 days? No, not 9 days. 11 days from now. We're going to find out exactly what this team is made of. I think there is a specific eye from fans and from the coaching staff, or from Sherrone Moore, on these position coaches, right? Michigan let a lot of guys, go, right? The secondary coach from last year went on to the Chargers. Michigan's strength coach went on to the Chargers. Mike Hart, no one's even heard from Mike Hart. Where the hell was Mike Hart? You bring in the running backs coach from Ohio State. So just kind of thinking, especially linebacker, right? Brian John Marie. He was the linebackers coach in 2020 for 1 year with this program. He stunk then. Okay, maybe he's got a better recruiter. Came over from Tennessee. They had okay linebackers, I guess, last year. Offensive line, right? Grant Newsome, with no coaching experience, kind of came up as an analyst, tight ends coach. Now he's the offensive line coach. I don't know. We'll see what we got out of him. Running backs coach, right? Tony Alford, coming from Ohio State. They don't seem to be missing him at all. And Michigan's got one of the worst rushing attacks in all of college football. Ron Bellamy, okay? Had a receiver drafted in the 3rd round, had a receiver drafted in the 7th round in this past year's draft, but these receivers don't look like they are doing anything right. Nothing to do to help Davis Warren, and we're completely outmanned by Texas. And frankly, I think they were kind of outmanned by Fresno State in the opener. So these assistant coaches, there might be a handful of guys, 2, 3, 4 guys that are one and done with this program if they don't seriously turn around the play of the players on the field. Johnny Sposita, asking, he says, why not give Orji and any of the QB the chance to play? Have to at least try something else instead of being stubborn and riding with our guy, in quotes. Well, it could be Jack Tuttle, right? We talked about it on Tuesday's show. It's not going to be this week, right? Jack Tuttle will not be the starting quarterback against Arkansas State. And I doubt he would be the quarterback against USC. The only way he would be there is if he's just looking phenomenal in practice and Davis Warren just looks terrible. And Michigan, hopefully they don't lose, but pulls out a squeaker 13-9 or something like that over Arkansas State. Sherrone Moore might be like, well, look, we're going to lose this guy. Might as well get Tuttle in there for the rest of the year anyways. But you get down the line 5, 6 games, you get into October after the bye week, etc. You might see Jack Tuttle as the guy. I don't see Alex Orji being the starting quarterback this year. Under any circumstances, because I just don't think he can throw the ball more than 10 yards accurately and consistently. But you might see Jack Tuttle. It's all going to depend on what Davis Warren does. I think over these next 2 games at least. Maybe he'll give him to that Minnesota game before making a decision on the future of Davis Warren as Michigan's starting quarterback. Hail Wolverine. Now that's a great photo. It's like Ted Cruz with like some sort of fatter face and haircut. I don't know who. It's like a face smash of Ted Cruz, and I'm not sure somebody else. It says, James, do you think there's any validity to the claims that it takes 4 to 5 weeks of gameplay for players to understand Wink's system? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I haven't heard that necessarily, but it's supposed to be the same system that Jesse Minter used the last 2 years. Supposed to be the same system that got Mike McDonald to get Michigan, into the college football playoff his first year as DC in 2021. Go back to the Ravens, be one of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football. Go to the Seahawks, and now is their undefeated head coach. But it didn't look the same system, right? Those 2 plays I showed on Monday's show, the 3rd quarter touchdown drive, where you had the reverse where Michigan was just completely out of play. They didn't have anybody out there. Luckily, they were able to chase the guy down, the freshman Ryan Wingo, after 55 yards. And then 2 plays later on 3rd down, a running back goes in motion. Not a single player even blinks to go out there. That wouldn't happen under the same system under the last 2 guys. If you need 4 or 5 guys to know that somebody should cover a linebacker inside the 10 or 12-yard line or a running back inside the 10-yard line when he goes way out in motion and there's not a single player 5-8 yards even laterally, let alone vertically, away from him. I don't know what to tell you, right? That shouldn't take 4 or 5 games, but there's a lot of Wink Martin is Don Brown 2.0 rumblings out there. And if Michigan gets lit up through the air against USC, right, one of the best typically passing teams, best passing, them and Ohio State, particularly the best passing, schools with Lincoln Riley and Ryan Day. If that happens next week on the 21st, then I think you're going to end up with Wink Martindale being a one and done, because it doesn't seem like it's the same offensive or defensive philosophy, defensive system that we saw last year. So if that's the case, if those are the claims, cool. We've got a couple more weeks of interesting and rough play until maybe they turn it around and start looking like the teams of the last 3 years. Quick reminder, go down and reply to the pinned comment on today's video if you want a chance to win $25. No editing comments. Got to be in by kickoff on Saturday. And you've got to tell me who it's going to win, Michigan or Arkansas State. We'll be back on Thursday with more from the Michigan Football Report. Till then, go Blue.